I recently did this video on this jewelry box, and today in this follow-on video I'm going to show you how you're going to add a partition for the jewelry and how you're going to use this flocking kit to decorate the inside. Hi y'all, Mike Peace Woodturning, and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks, and techniques to help you become a better woodturner. So if that's what you're interested in, click on the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. I'm not going to show you detailed instructions on how you make this partition. It's not rocket surgery. Here's some of the various measuring devices that I used. The couple of tips that I would give you though, when you're going to make these strips out of something less than 1/8 of an inch, or a bit more than 1/8 of an inch rather, less than 1/4 of an inch. And if you can use simple plywood or you can use some type of MDF. I would say if it's 1/4 inch, you probably want to sand it down to make it a little bit thinner. One of the main tips I'd get across when you do this, and it goes back to when you're actually making your jewelry bowl. Work harder than I did, on making the sides perfectly parallel and flat, and making the bottom flat. And let me tell you, it makes it a lot easier when you go to making your partitions, because you won't have to work at trying to fit these contours and adjust it with a belt sander. It can be done. It just takes it's a little more work. You're going to cut notches halfway, and so they'll fit together like this. When you sand the top of your partitions, sand them over so they'll be somewhat rounded, because when you go to flocking, it's going to fit a lot better, stick a lot better on a rounded surface. The flocking kit, you can get these from any number of different wood vendors sell them. They come in different styles. If you're not close to a woodworking store, you can do what I did. You can order it on Amazon. I'll have a link to that in my. I'm an Amazon affiliate, and there'll be a link below the description. And if you buy something off Amazon by going through my shop, I'll get a small commission. So basically, there's 3 components to doing this flocking project. There's some paint, a bag of rayon fibers, and then a sprayer. This is I haven't used this yet. It's just a simple bottle. There are fancier sprayers, cost a few more bucks. I'm awfully frugal, so this came in a kit. I thought I'd give it a try. Here's an example. Here's a picture of a wooden tube mini flocker where it works a little bit like an insect sprayer. You spray it, and you push one tube inside the other, and the rayon fibers come out. You can get this in lots of different colors. So let's show you how that works. But before we get into the flocking, I'm going to have to go ahead and glue these partitions together, and then I'm going to have to glue it inside here. Before I got into wood turning, I was making bandsaw boxes like this dozing duck, and it has a little compartment. I lined it with some adhesive back felt, and let me tell you, that is a pain in the rear. If I'd known about flocking then, I would chose to flocked it. So we're going to mask off the area that we're going to flock, so we'll have a nice even line. I just used some masking tape. Then we're going to use this nothing special about this paint. It's just acrylic paint. You can get it at any craft store. It came in a kit, reasonably priced. So you're going to paint this on thick. I've about decided, in order to accomplish this, that I'm going to have to flock it in 2 different steps, because I think it's too much paint for me to get on there, and you have to, at one time, and it has to be real wet in order for you to flock it, so it'll stick onto that wet paint. So I'm going to do the inside, and while it's wet, flock it, and then later I'll come back and do this, paint this black, and then use flocking on it, and then I'll have to decide whether I glue it in or whether it'll just friction fit in. Okay, I'm a big believer in following the manufacturer's instructions unless I have enough experience to know when to deviate. And one of the first things they say is seal the surface to be coated. So I went back and used some sanding sealer to do the inside of the box and also on the partition. You want to seal it well enough so that when you start putting this acrylic paint on it, it won't get absorbed and maybe get too dry before the flocking has a chance to really stick to it. If you're doing this on glass or a metal, you wouldn't need to go through this step. Okay, first thing I think I ought to do before I paint this is fill up this flocking bottle. You don't want to breathe this stuff. I'm going to put on this nuisance mask. I think this will probably be adequate for what I'm doing. And we're going to fill this applicator bottle about half full, I understand. We're doing it in this container so I can recover anything that's left over. Hopefully, let's keep from spilling it. It's a very powdery, they're just little flakes of rayon. That's about all I can say. I understand it's supposed to fill a bottle maybe half full. If you got one of those other fancier flocking applicators, I think you fill it about half full. That's about half full. Okay, let's seal this back. I think I got it. Alright, now that we got the bottle ready, I want to have it ready in advance because this glue, I call it glue, it's just an acrylic craft paint. I think like you could get it Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I've shaken it up a little bit. And now, you know, I guess I'll put this in something that I can paint on. Let me get some kind of container. I always keep a supply of yogurt cups and the like in my shop. Now, I had a brush here somewhere. There we go. I'm using one of these acid brushes. I keep a collection of these. These are great. Alright, so now I'm simply going to paint the surfaces liberally and quickly. I understand you really don't have to tape the edges if you can paint smoothly. But I think that's the easiest way to have a nice surface. And like I say, you want to put this stuff on apparently liberally. You don't want it to pool. But you don't want to leave anything uncovered. And I understand this stuff stays active for about 10 to 15 minutes, so you don't have to move quite as fast as I might have thought originally. Alright, let's see how this works. We're just going to puff it. I understand you're supposed to keep it in the same general orientation. Well, I can see now why maybe a more expensive applicator. No, it looks like it's working. Might be better. Be liberal because you can always reclaim the fibers you don't use. But with that black paint on the background, it helps disguise the areas. I'm going to turn on my air filtration unit after I finish this. Overhead unit. Collect any of these stray fibers. Looks like I may have to spray some more, put some more in here. Okay, now we're supposed to let that dry at least 15 hours before we start a recovery process. And you want it to cure at least 72 hours before to a week, 72 hours to a week before you actually use it. And similarly, I'm going to handle the inside. I'm going to get a little block of wood to raise it up a little bit, make it a little easier to apply. I put my brush in water, so let me go retrieve that. And I do this in a similar fashion. Okay, I finished the center partition. Now we're going to wait about overnight until we assemble it and see how it looks. Okay, I've waited 24 hours and it's time to get rid of the excess or recover the excess flocking. Alright, we're going to start with this partition, and I'm just going to tap it. And actually I'm going to get a soft brush. I don't have a very large one, but here's a paintbrush that I think I can use. That I'm just going to sweep the items off, any excess. And I'm surprised I'm not getting a lot off, which may lead me to believe that I didn't spray enough on here. But it looks good. Alright, now this one, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this little block, got a lot of stuff off of there, and we're going to remove the tape and hope it separates cleanly at the edge. I could have used painter's tape, but did not feel it would stick as well. Alright, now we're going to tap this down. Alright, now we're going to figure out how to dump this and recover it. I'm going to dump it on this open folder because I'm not sure that I could get this stuff into a container otherwise. Here's a good use of the brush. If I had to guess, I would guess that I probably am recovering maybe 20% of what I initially used. Let's see how that works. Yep, I think that'll work just fine. Okay, now let's see how I want to handle this. Let's see how it squeezes in. I think I am just going to wedge it in. And there we are. Partitioned jewelry box. If you like this video, click on the like button. If you missed the video on turning this box, I'll have a link here. Y'all stay safe. Come on back here.